Hello, my beautiful people. Tracy here. Video today, as promised, is going to be for our static stretches to help us with spasticity in the fingers and hand and that excess tone that we're dealing with. Before we get started, I'm going to ask you to please do me a favor and like this channel. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. This allows me to get in front of more faces of our wonderful survivors that are looking for that functional independence. And thank you for those that are contributing with donations of appreciation for me putting out this free content. I love doing it and I love being able to help those. And also, the comments are what I need for you to let me know what type of videos that you need to help you further in your recovery. So please comment, let me know specifics of what you're needing. We're gonna jump right into these exercises with static stretches in the hand or affected hand to help us with tone and spasticity. So I am left side affected. We're gonna act as if this hand is still fisted. So if we're still fisted in this situation, starting off with how to stretch those fingers out. This video may be a little longer. And as always, I'll say, we gotta learn how to deal with things as dealing with, learning the difference between pain and the reality of, hey, because this body part has not moved in a while, we're gonna have to deal with the fact of it dealing with a little more pain because of the simple fact that body's just not used to it. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm purposely forcing my fingers to stay closed because they open now. But what that would look like is, and as you see naturally, yes, I do have movement on my finger, but naturally when you start doing something like that, the other fingers want to react. And I wanted to show you that. So forcing the fingers to stay closed, we're gonna pull that thumb out because so many of us deal with that thumb being tucked in. Pull that thumb out. So before I go back to pulling them all out one by one, we're gonna work on static stretching. We're gonna pull this open and work on stretching this. And stretching this helps it get some blood flow going and definitely will feel tight. You know, and really because tone and spasticity really doesn't want to allow those body parts to move. So that's what we're gonna work on. So I have a table here because I'll show you quickly. If it's more difficult for you to try to hold it open like this, we can rest that hand because remember, as I told you, when you rest the body parts, it does work a lot better with trying to control our body to do some things more active. And we can rest it as this, pulling them out one at a time. And I'm using the weight of my non-affected side to pull this shit down. And we're gonna pull those fingers out one at a time. As such, I got those out. And this pinky, which my pinky always used to do me in, y'all. So now I have those fingers out. I could stand up at that weight bearing on the hand because that definitely does help us with that weight bearing. We're gonna press down here because what you'll find that natural tone in the fingers, if I go to let the weight go, generally the fingers would do something like that. So again, repetition is key and we gotta work on, same as if you were doing a split, you can't just prop down. We have to work on stretching, reminding our fingers and reminding our brain active movements here to say, hey, our body's supposed to move. Yes, it has not moved in a while and we had that disconnect with the brain. So our body has to understand what's going on here. And we're gonna do this a couple of times. So I'm not gonna do this again for video purposes and keeping the video short. So we'll start there. Then I release this and I'm gonna move this out of the way. Our next one from here, because these are one of my favorites. So when I'm watching TV or doing anything, I'll literally just be watching TV and I'll just pull them out one at a time. And you can do the same with weight bearing on the leg if you didn't have a table in front of you. And I'm literally pulling them out like such. Boom, get it down there. Hold it down, and at the same time this works for, I'm going to purposely do one of these to pull up. So say, for instance, I did that and then my arm wanted to do this. We're gonna do this situation where I'm pushing the arm down and I'm gonna go back to it. So it works like that, guys. That's what we wanna work on. So take time. You may not move as fast as I'm moving right now, but it's totally fine. My next one I'm gonna jump into, you might be fisted here. And what can we do? It does not take much. We're sitting here, watching TV, enjoying and having a conversation with somebody else. We're gonna put some weights in that wrist here. And there's multiple ways you could do. We could do one of these things here, because you might deal with a situation where you're not getting, I'm not gonna because I get confused with, is it flexion, extension? It's one, so you're not getting full extension and flexion in that affected wrist. So we could do this exercise for both ways. And of course, it'll be a lot easier when the fingers are open. I'm going to open up the fingers. And again, yours may not open as fast as mine. And do this situation here. We're doing one of these. You can use your head. And from there, you can make it even easier with your affected hand now that we got those fingers open. And use your hand to pull it open. So we want to incorporate these active stretches. Again, getting the blood flow in the hand and allowing our brain to understand, hey, that body part does work. So this right here, even with me, y'all know my hand does move around and work. This right here is a heck of a stretch. Like, I feel it all the way through. So I don't want you to pull it all the way down to break your fingers, but this is a heck of a stretch, but because I can feel it, but it actually feels good at the same time. So even though we're stretching that way, and yeah, we're dealing with the fact that a lot of us are still dealing with the closed fist, we want to give it that attention. And so it's like massaging those fingers is very important as well. So I'm kind of doing it to massage all of them, but you could do one at a time. But you want to, you know, practice self-care on that body part. Yes, we are upset that it doesn't move how we want it to, but listen, we have to show some tender care to it at the same time. So these are very simple that we can do with working on. Give it some tension, massage those fingers, massage those hands, and at the same time we're massaging the fingers, even though yesterday's video was the arm. This wrist is still part of the hand/fingers, so we're gonna massage it all the way down. Get that blood flow going, and you'll notice you may be releasing some tension and knots in that arm because when you have less movement, I mean, you notice more things happening to the body. So this will help to release some of your tone and spasticity at the same time. When actually you might have one of these things while you're doing that, it begins to close. Just take your time. Patience, you guys. We've been dealing with patience since we've had this stroke. For patience, persistency, and repetition is what we want to work on. So test these out. Very simple exercise I want to do. Oh, and then I wanted to show y'all laying down. It works the same as laying down. My way, I open my fingers, as I mentioned to you yesterday, was as I kept practicing to extend this hand, telling my brain, open, 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 open. And it's kind of like the mirror effect. I would do one of these situations, do one of these, pull this out the way, opening. So my affected hand, even though it wasn't opening as fast, but I would do this situation to mirror it, and I can even put it together as such to mirror this situation to say, hey, open up, open up, and open up. And again, because my whole body is relaxed, when I go up and I'm working on doing this, taking it over my head, that's when my brain allowed me to open those fingers finally, because your body is completely relaxed. Everything is relaxed here. And we're just going from tight-fisted, which naturally is how most of our bodies are, to now opening up. And I'm doing both hands at the same time, triggering my brain to understand, hey, these hands are supposed to move, these hands are supposed to move, these hands are supposed to open and react in the same sense. But then at the same time, I wasn't able to pull it up myself, so I still had to assist it with my non-affected side, bring it up, and still working on opening. And when I'm doing this, I'm able to protect this wrist, controlling the wrist so it doesn't just drop. And that gives me a lot more control in the hand. So test these out, you guys. Let me know how this works for you. And I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.